Welcome to the markets picture now. Having a look at what's happening on the Asian side of things, Asian markets mostly rose, bolstered by Jerome Powell's signal that pandemic-era support will be lifted gradually and cautiously. And of course, these were some of the comments that investors were keeping an eye on Friday afternoon during the Jackson Hole speech by Jerome Powell. So as a result, we saw the Nikkei close up nearly 0.5%. Mainland Chinese markets closed mixed on the day. Hang Seng Index also up 0.5%. And on that particular front, and we were talking about it earlier last week when we were looking at potential China-US tensions coming back to the fore. In this particular case, Beijing saying that they are looking at new rules to restrict Chinese internet firms from going public in the US. Again, this is one of the things that we will be focusing on and keeping an eye on, especially when it comes to the regulatory side of things. European markets mostly higher as well. It's that positive sentiment that's moving through, and it's been reflected by the global markets. Just so you know, UK markets are closed today for a public holiday. Looking at what's happening with US futures at this particular stage, holding steady for now. And of course, markets looking forward to the US jobs report that is out on Friday. To talk to us about a lot of the stuff playing out globally as well as locally, as we did have some financial results come out from the likes of Sun International, we are joined by Bright Khumalo from Vestec Asset Management. Bright, thank you so much for your time. Looking at how the JSE played out, opened up this morning, how are we faring right now given some of the results we've seen earlier today?
Look, I mean, after having a not so bad week in terms of closing the whole week last week, we're opening in the red today. As I look at it, the JSE is down about 0.44%, basically everything down a lot. Except for resources which are flat, and industrials being the ones that are down the most, down 1%. Top 40 winners and losers, we've got South 32 up 2%, Exara up 1.4%, Vodacom up 1% as well. Anglo Plat is leading the charge in terms of the guys in the red, down 4%, Process down 2.5%, and Impala Platinum down 2.4% as well there. So in terms of performance, it's mixed today, but in general, the JSE has basically been at the mercy of these PGMs businesses since, the likes of, Naspers and Process haven't been, holding their own end of the bargain in terms of gains. They've actually been losing a lot in the past 2 to 3 months. We've seen these PGM companies holding steady, and then obviously, you've got things like MTN, for example, have performed quite well in the past half a year.
So what did the market make of Jerome Powell's dovish stance? Because if you looked at some of the commentary and analysis over the weekend, maybe from the likes of Mohamed El-Erian and Bloomberg, some still have concerns that that Jerome Powell is missing something in the system that could eventually bite him later on. What did you make of his statements? Is there something to be concerned about?
Look, I mean, if you listen to his speech on Friday, basically he said, like you said on the intro, that, the market shouldn't people shouldn't be worried too much about inflation. He sees it as transitory. I think the words he used is the fact that, yes, in the past couple of months, inflation has been above 2%, but it's still within, in the long term, it's still within his range of, that 2% in terms of inflation. And it doesn't mean that he's going to be forced to hike rates as soon as possible, even though he did allude to the fact that he might be looking to taper, asset purchases as soon as, before the year ends. But that doesn't mean, that his stance is basically, ripping the bandage off and, every man for himself. He still wants to be very accommodative and see that unemployment number come down quite a lot, and obviously the economy recover a bit more than where it is today before it takes away the punch bowl.
Sun International released their financial results earlier today. They seem to be very upbeat about their own recovery as the vaccine rollout grows. What did you make of their numbers?
Yes, I mean, it's good that, their losses, they're getting smaller and smaller. From continuing operation, the losses were 5 million from around, I think it was 705 million rands in the previous, year on year, basically in the previous year. So it's not looking so bad in terms of that. I still see, the casino operators as COVID stocks play in terms of, by that I mean, the more we see, the rollout of the vaccine, the faster that is, and the more people can actually make money in this economy, the more they can think about, going out and enjoying themselves in the sun cities of the world, and then maybe spending some money in the casinos. But as we're seeing, the slow uptake or the slow rollout of the vaccine in South Africa, the slower this company is going to recover. Whereas its peers in the United States have, bounced back quite nicely. As we've seen, the rollout there was a bit much faster and smoother, and people were actually going out there, spending a little bit more because, they had money to spend, they were working, et cetera, et cetera. So things are a little bit different when you compare the two countries, yeah.
All right, Bright, unfortunately, we have run out of time, but thank you so much for that analysis. That is Bright Khumalo from Investec Asset Management. And